What is good? This is Imran, and I'm not even using this leather seating. So, because everything is energy. So if you wouldn't use a skinned human clothing or furniture, then there's no excuse in why you should be using anything that's demonic and low vibrational. So, from this video, this is going to be my offer to you to help you in the ways that you need to be helped. But in return, you have to help me. And that is a term, a condition, a rule, ultimately, that will allow you to understand that it's a give and receive, it's a give and take, that, while nothing in this world may be free, you know, I offer you free help. I have been. But now it is time for me to offer people the deeper help that they need. So in return, I'm asking for the help that, you know, I also require for me to give you that kind of help. So in order to succeed in ultimately anything, you need a sense of community. You need someone there to um, you know, for a time in your life to help you to get to point A to point B. And you shouldn't be worried about making poor investments, because when you actually make investments that, may not be so good in your favor, then you know how to make better investments, and now the fear is gone. So once the fear is gone and your heart is open and receptive to love, you're more, now that you know, okay, so in this loving state, I made these decisions and I made these moves, and this was the result and this was the outcome, and maybe it didn't work out in your favor, maybe that's not what you wanted, right? So now you have this overall sense of, hey, this is right and this is wrong. Now you can distinguish and discern of what works and what doesn't. So when you have a mentor, right? So I give you free mentorship on YouTube. When you have a mentor to help guide you in the directions that you need, because all of these videos on YouTube are free. I'm giving you my energy, my thoughts. I'm giving you my purpose. This is why I came to Earth. This is the whole reason, spiritually incarnating into a human, like, humanoid body, that's made of flesh and blood, right? So very animalistic, and it has animalistic natures, and the body itself has these impulses to reproduce, to feed, to have I don't know what the right word is, but to have the water to what's the word? Hydrate? Yeah, hydrate. So the body has these needs. So physical activity as well, allowing the body for it to have movement and energy, because your soul, your spirit is your energy. So when you can properly allow yourself to spread your wings and fly, you're enjoying life more in the air. So coming all the way down from water to earth to land, now becoming a bird animal. Now you can fly. There's you know there's still more to go to it. So then the final element being fire, ether, what your soul, your spirit is made up of, which is light, energy, right? uh Hydrogen is scientifically what the sun is known as. That's gonna allow you to on the periodic table of the elements, and what physicality in the universe is different things are comprised of. This will allow you to understand that, okay, so it must be bigger than all of those four elements, and there's more to it, and me being the final four quadrant awareness in my incarnation, for heart, for home, for more, for your core, for like everything that involves finalizing and finishing the house that we built, essentially. So like the top of the pyramid, if you will, in a sense, the roof of the house. So it sounds backwards, but it's actually forward moving. So now that you have this sense of, okay, so I'm here in this reality, and this is what's happening, and this is who I am. Now you're gonna want to actually attain the results to not only fulfill the needs of your body, which it's craving and it desires and it has to have, but it wants it. Your soul, if anything, if your spirit wants this ultimate reality of fulfilling your body's, because your body doesn't require anything it hasn't been pre-exposed to. So if your spirit and your soul has ultimately moved into a direction that's opposing the will of what your soul and your spirit ultimately wants, you're actually working into your body deceasing. So this is where predators came from, when in the Bible would describe this as Adam and Eve basically making a gesture against God to disobey and listen to the serpent. And the serpent doesn't eat apples. The serpent eats others. So to an animal. An animal is an animal, and to a human, an animal is an animal, but the human doesn't, the human has a higher form of consciousness, but the human ultimately is still that animal, just in a more developed state. So that doesn't mean that you necessarily are in a human body because for whatever reason you feel like apex predator, survival of the fittest, and you got to this point because of that. If anything, these lower bodily natures of flesh and blood are they can be reincarnations, but an incarnation being something where you choose to voluntarily come into this form to assist in the different spirits and souls trying to come out of it, because they recognize the birth, life, and death and the samsara, karma, and suffering. Okay, so what you do unto others, you do unto yourself ultimately. And there's these sayings like "you are what you eat." Why are those sayings there? Because they're true in nature. You are what you eat. So if you're made up of living foods with living enzymes, with no heartbeat, with no form of sentient consciousness to experience itself, no spirit or soul within within plants, so you're not going to be born as a plant, because it's impossible. So when you realize what a plant is and why it's living, it's not living because a spirit and a soul like yours, a spirit and a soul, you're conscious, wanting to experience itself as a plant. That's not what's happening. What's happening is that the plant is something else entirely that has nothing to do with the way you perceive yourself, with the way an animal perceives itself. A plant is created for the sole dictation of the life aspect, where you might say, oh, a plant is living its life. A plant is living its life in in the entirety of what life is, not in the sense where it's experiencing itself as living life, like you and an animal is. So when you ultimately bring that awareness to see a plant for what it actually is, you will quickly begin to realize and make these connections. Okay, so it is impossible to be born as a plant because it doesn't have a subjective experience, conscience of itself. So there's no way it can even be aware that it's a plant. There's no way that it can even be aware that it's living life, because it is made up of life. It is life. It gives life, and it can ultimately take life, because when you become overly infatuated with the material of the life that the plants provide you with, the healing, the nutrition in these physically, flesh and blood forms, to feed, the body's necessities and requirements, to sustain itself, because these animal vessels, yes, while being higher forms of them, they require a form of sustenance to have the form of energy necessary to continue on in its evolutionary track. So when you see animals overgrazing and overpopulating, it's because such animals have went so far lower and lower and lower into their natures without utilizing the laws of harmonic laws of the universe appropriately, for in a higher mental degree, to create a better reality for themselves and everyone around them. Ultimately, this is why you'll see, herds of animals will sometimes protect themselves and each other, and fight for themselves and each other. But most of the time, what happens is that's not what's happening. You are witnessing it, and we are seeing that animals, most of the time, most of them, they can't. They're unable to do anything with those vessels that will allow them to ultimately, create a form of protection or shelter, or advance together, and ultimately collaborate their minds and evolve out of that, is because their spirit and their soul has fallen to such a degree where they can't even have the abilities they once had, the powers they once had, because they abused it, like Adam and Eve. They abused the power that God gave them, like the Bible basically suggests. It's just a story, it's just an allegory. But when you allegory meaning like, something like a depiction of reality. So it's just a story. It's not real, but it points to the truth of the matter in fact, which is, yes, what, nothing is ever, like Albert Einstein, with a vegetarian, um, suggested, and Hitler was a vegetarian too, by the way. But and they might be vegetarians to different degrees. Albert Einstein may have eaten eggs, or may not, or or Hitler may have. I haven't done enough research on it, but the point is that they were still intaking animal products and breastfeeding from an animal, as well as Nikolai Tesla. So you could see how their works kind of, while being fulfilled, Albert Einstein had a lot of things with theft and with his works, and Nikolai Tesla couldn't get his work to be received well by Earth. and the inhabitants there. So it was a lot going on there with that animal consciousness, and then breastfeeding another animal, getting ready to ultimately reincarnate as one. Um, but so obviously everything is connected. So if you're still breastfeeding, in a sense, from an animal, the programming and conditioning is for you to become an animal, so you can be livestock. You know, it's a systematic agenda of a few elite entities that are in fact humanoid alienoids that are here to have a very negative impact um, on your psyche, on your conscience, and it's a very parasitic and predatorial conscience. So if you see what's happening with animals, it's the same thing with humans. It's just happening to a higher intellectual degree. But what you don't realize is the mental slavery that you're undergoing right now to program and condition you into, hey, you got to work a job you don't want to work, you got to do these things you don't want to do. All of these things, right? You may be in a position where you want to ultimately get out of that. I can help you out of that. But you have to help me in return, because you know, you may be in a situation much better than me, financially speaking, and you could assist me financially. I'm not no longer asking for donations, but I am giving you a set price that's very reasonable, in which you could work with me, and I could help assist you in your evolutionary track as a guide, as a mentor, and allowing you to fulfill these requirements of your soul, of your spirit. So when I drop videos like these that are filled with value and tremendous amounts of information and knowledge and wisdom and insight that'll ultimately already wake you up, this is only the tip of the iceberg. And I'm not just saying that because I want your money. Well, first of all, I need your money and you need your money. So when you're too afraid to give it, to allow it to come back to you in a positive way, for a positive reason, because you're assisting someone ultimately that's in need, because you're in need of money. So imagine if nobody paid you ever, and you could never even do anything to. Imagine you lived in a world where so you're given so much, and there's so much to be grateful for. So when you live in that fear of, oh, I don't want to do anything like invest in myself to improve myself. Well, you're already doing that and you're unconscious of it. You're already investing in yourself every single day. Every time you pay for your car insurance, your electricity bill, your roof over your head, and those are all scams. Ultimately, because you don't need to pay for any of that. But just addressing it, we don't have to go down, you know, that alleyway of everything that has to do with that. The whole point is for you to know that, yes, you are being duped and scammed, but it's a necessity. You still need to pay it in the world you live in. So you can help shape the world in a better way, but you need to evolve your spirit and soul and come to a mastermind collective, and come into unity in order to do that. And that's what I'm here to help you with, and I'm doing that for free on YouTube, as you've been known. I've been doing on YouTube, but now I'm here to take it to another level, a deeper relationship, and actually offer you the solutions and make it reality. So now that you kind of got the mentality and the general feel for what it is that's actually going on. Now here's a great segue to bring you into this, which is If not now, what are you gonna do? If you're not gonna do something about your situation right now, when is it gonna be? Next year? Is it gonna be when you're dead and everyone you love and care about is dead? Is it gonna be next lifetime? Is it gonna What is it gonna be? Is it gonna be until you reincarnate in hell over and over? So ultimately, the reason why I'm that a spirit and soul that's progressing in this way, where I have these form of knowledges and wisdoms imparted to me, and I can actually do something in my own life, like relate to you, convey to you a broader message of overall expansion, to bring you into deeper levels of awareness and consciousness that will ultimately heal yourself, that will allow you to make more income, that will allow you to do what you love, and to ultimately manifest heaven for yourself. Because while usually you want to see proof and example of someone you're learning from and hiring as a mentor, just like you would hire a personal chef, you would want some form of a resume and background to see that, okay, is this person has been doing this for, are they good at it, do they make good food and all such and such. It's the same thing with this. I have built my resume or whatever, and you're hiring me on as your mentor, and I will extend my gratitude to you for hiring me to give me a job, essentially, that allows me to fulfill my purpose and makes me happy. And you're allowing me to continue to live and manifest in this heaven for myself. So in return, I will help you do the same. And while you may not necessarily realize that a heaven, in fact, is still a heaven that you coagulate and contend to and create for yourself, it's a heaven. So while my health is doing very well, allowing me to have these form of intellects, ideas, thoughts, and emotions to take me into this deeper level of overall achievement. Not just in the material, obviously, but also in the evolutionary aspect of, hey, maybe you want a better reality for yourself, for everyone you love, and the whole purpose of my work here on earth has been to take you with me, has been to ultimately bring a documentation and to grab your hand and walk with you. So if you see that I'm undergoing a form of sickness a little bit, but I'm healing from it, what you need to realize is that I will tell you why, literally right now, on why I have this cough. Because I ate honey. It was offered to me in a mosque, and it was laced on my nuts. you know, uh, Literally, like, you know, mixed nuts that you eat, like, there was honey on it. And I had a sense that obviously this has some animal product in it, but it lowered my immune system. When I, long story short, I just ate it, and I shouldn't have done that. But that's essentially learning learning to shift your consciousness and awareness in the right direction, to where that little experience for myself, it relates to a form of wisdom that connects us all together. How many times have you unconsciously done something that was a mistake that harmed yourself or harmed someone else, right? So what would it be that even led to, because in order to have the right solution, you need to find the causes, right? What would it even be that allowed me to be in a situation to where I would be prone to harming myself in that way? Well, it's not always black and white, and there is a gray line. So that gray line, the thin line that connects the truth with reality, is that if you're not here to help and serve your purpose, the energy that you're in for yourself is stagnating, and you're not being proactive in moving forward. And when you're not being proactive in moving forward, you're actually, when you're stagnating, it's like purgatory. But purgatory is there for you to either, it's like a trampoline, you know? If you don't jump, you're not going to go up, right? So uh and you will sink. But in this sense, the trampoline just sinks forever. And eventually you fall through. So eventually it gets too heavy and you just fall through. It's kind of like that, you know? If, you'll get a chance after chance after chance to always keep evolving, always keep loving, always keep making peace, always keep, moving forward and growing, right? By helping others, you are helping yourself, because we are all connected. So in a sense, when you try to figure out, oh, why am I human? Why are the animals animals? You may not even have ever had these kind of thoughts or question these things, but all of a sudden, when your consciousness begins to, uh, question itself, that's a positive affirmation to your soul and your spirit, allowing you to ultimately build a greater relationship with your higher mind, to disconnect you from your animalistic natures and to ultimately bring you into this higher form of awareness, where you no longer have to come back into a vessel like such, in a planet like such. And it could be better, and you may have to come back. But if you really disagree with that, and you want to say, no, I do not want to come back onto this planet, into this type of vessel, flesh and blood, right? It's made of meat, it's made of chicken, it's made of beef, but it's human. The what you need to realize is that fear will put you in the vibration of becoming prey, right? When you're afraid, you're making decisions out of a low vibration. You're thinking thoughts out of a very low place. So fear leads to predation, in fact, because you're afraid that if you don't kill or eat someone, if you don't fight or try to prove your dominance or assert yourself in a negative way onto others, that survival of the fittest, you'll be weak and you'll lose, and you won't attract mates. And ultimately, this is a very primitive, predatorial, negative aspect of existence that leads to your reincarnation of, while you may have certain gifts around you, you may have certain position and stature and status and material. Ultimately, when you want that deeper fulfillment out of life, that purpose, that zest, that joy that nothing else can bring you, other than your consciousness and awareness, your spirit, your soul, in other words, ascending, growing, evolving, so when moving in a forward positive direction. Because if it's not doing that, it's stagnating and it's falling down. And while you may have those temporary illusions in front of you, it ultimately has to collapse and fall down. It has to, because whatever your soul and your spirit did to create a heavenly reality for yourself, it was enough to relate to someone like me. It was enough to get you this far into this video. It was enough to make you kind of enjoy the process a little bit and trust what your higher self, quote unquote God, has intended for you. You may not see it that way. You might see it as, hey, there's no way our higher selves is God. We're not God. While you may be right, thinking from your lower animalistic natures, what you ultimately don't get, that your ultimate guide, your ultimate mentor, is your higher self. And that same higher self is connecting you to my higher self. And that's allowing us to basically coexist, cooperate, and work with each other in the spiritual plane, in the mental plane, by allowing evolution, growth, positive, higher natures to occur, right? Which will lead to a heavenly experience, not only for yourself but others, because humans have the desire to help. It is in your nature, in your heart, as a higher consciousness, to help others, to help. Maybe you're the type of person that gives charity, and you like to give charity, or but you have this yearning and desire to help others, especially in a war situation. So the leading cause of homelessness and poverty currently on the planet is predation, because the predation is the root of all evil. And if they would say the saying that money is the root of all evil, well, money actually comes from predation, which is deforestation. Because why would you need to chop down trees when the trees provide you with the substance of assisting in clean air, and providing with fruits and vegetation, and so on. You're only clearing the land to make way for most of it being slaughterhouses, predatory acts, and nature's serpent, described as the serpent eating its own tail, the dragon eating its own tail, because you are what you eat. When you don't believe in reincarnation, what happens is you're unconscious, you're unaware, and your denial, is there. So it's blocking you from seeing the light and the soul and the spirit that you are. So you're living in your own darkness, your own hell. So you can't see yourself. You have no self-awareness. You're a predator, So you don't acknowledge the fact that there is a here, a before, a here, and an after. So whatever you've been doing has gotten you here, and whatever you've been doing that got you here will get you no further. So that's where the purgatory, the trampoline that's falling in on itself, forever. You either go up or you stay stagnant, and you slowly begin falling down. So when you're moving forward in your purpose, in your path, it leads to overall connectivity. So you have to understand what the world that you live in is. Your higher self will take you through experiences to remind you and wake you up to what your environment is, and why your soul and spirit is so deserving, in fact, of this, of the higher vessel, what you believe to be below an alien but above an animal. What you need to realize is that you chose to be born into a form of consciousness and vessel to even perceive and understand what I'm saying to you, to the level that you are, to take you this far, because you're here to ultimately transcend it, grow past it, and evolve into greater natures, higher natures, right? To create a more heavenly, more beautiful reality, not only for yourself but others, because it's in your nature, it's in your higher nature, it's in your heart to care, right? It's in your heart to help, want to help. But the reason why animals are being preyed on is because they're in hell. Their spirit and their soul created that reality for themselves, because they ultimately abused their power, so they lost their privilege. And you could say that they never even had the privilege, right? So there was nothing to really lose. But when you really get down to it, the whole reason why an animal can be born as an animal, just like a human can be born as a human, it could be to help assist those natures. But karmically, disposition wise, animals will do animals will do what they have to do to survive and protect themselves. And for the herds that do successfully protect themselves and others, those are the animals that are actually doing the spiritual work necessary to transcend out of those animal bodies and become into humans. And then humans are doing that, so on. And then ultimately it's an overall ascension. But when you don't live in the higher self, you can't even perceive that. When you don't live in your purpose, when you're not serving your purpose, when you're not helping others, to especially to the degree that you could be, right? Your soul, your spirit, your higher self, quote unquote God, will express itself as such, to allow you to fulfill this mission, or even this contract, esoteric in nature, of higher realms, of higher regions, of heaven, of heavens, of multiverses, of different realities. We know the universe is forever expanding, so it's not too complicated to understand and perceive that there's other, obviously, worlds and planets with life and aliens, and this is already being proven. Abductions and evil ETs that are in charge of the evil in nature, meaning predatorial, because it has to do with parasitically vamping off another, like sentience. We're not gonna call it life force, because I don't want you to get sentience mixed in with life force, where life force is the same life force running through all things. You're not gonna look at like a blade of grass as something that you can be born as, because obviously you cannot be born as a blade of grass. Because why can you not be born as a blade of grass? Because the life force permitting through plants are meant to provide the flesh and blood vessels with sustenance. While you may believe that animals are their vessels are there to provide you with the sustenance, it's not true, because what happens is, when you begin to eat animals, you slowly start getting sick and decaying. This is scientifically proven. And you ultimately create a graveyard of sickness for yourself. The most acidic thing on the pH balance and scale is animal flesh, or flesh in general. So when you're eating another sentience another sentience's body, you're eating your own body. Because what you don't realize is the same meat on another sentience's body is the same meat on your body, but you believe it to be survival of the fittest. It's a cruel world. You got to do what you got to do. But what you don't understand, your consciousness is coming from the lower self, and it's coming from an unconscious place where you don't realize that you're doing it to yourself. You're actually eating yourself, because karma, laws of the universe, are in effect. God is in effect, which allowed for these hells to be existential and be real. So you may have to be reborn as an animal several times and fall into those lower animalistic natures over and over again to really get that point, Or you could really accelerate your journey right now by joining my membership. You would pay for a Netflix membership every month. It's just like you would pay for an introduction call once a month for literally 15 minutes. Because this video has been almost 40 minutes, and if you cut 30 minutes into 15, tremendous amounts of value, and it's a one-on-one experience, and it's gonna assist you a lot in bringing everything together. Me as your guide, as your mentor. I wish, not only will I take you with me on this journey, right, and document it the whole way, because I'm going to continue posting this free value, but for you personally to get that deeper level, for you to get that actual evolution, you're going to get it for free regardless. But when you want it yourself, and you need it, you'll find a way to be deserving of it. So not everyone is deserving, right? Not everyone watching my free videos is deserving, right? Because they may want it, but they don't need it. It's not a necessity for them. They may not realize why they need it. But for someone who's been subject to deeper levels of spirituality and awareness, and witnessing all this oppression and injustice and wrongdoings on planet Earth, someone who is even conscious enough to understand what I just said there. Educated enough, informed enough. Has developed their intellect in such a way where their mental health is together, put together, and you have a form of stability in your life. This is the people this is for. I'm here to be your assistant, your guide. I'm here to be your mentor. I'm here to grab your hand, and like Eminem said, grab my hand. Let's walk. Let's take a stand. We're in this together. Everyone can grab my hand. We'll walk this road together. We'll bear the storm together. So that by helping each other, we're helping ourselves. By loving each other, we're loving ourselves. By making peace with each other, we're making peace with ourselves. Is that not correct? Of course it is. So when you don't fulfill your purpose, you fall into these negative, animalistic, lower vibrational thoughts. So that's what I'm here to bring you out of, is that misery and that hell, And it all starts with what you're eating. You are what you eat, obviously. So, but it doesn't just stop there. It goes on and on, as I have begun to, unravel in this video. So I will leave an email below on the video where you can email me, and just give me an email. I will literally get on a Zoom call with you for free. I'm already doing this for free, So I'm not doing sales. I'm literally giving you an offer, a free offer, to talk to you one-on-one for literally 5 minutes. Because I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to give you an offer. If you really want to work with me, Archangel Raphael as your mentor, and I don't use those terms that's been religiously and biblically activated for me to be summoned here so heavily. I tend to try to use them more lightly. I know you think it's backwards, but it's not, because when it's so official and dense like that, they try to put you in a box and try to claim but in heaven, where it's almost like different algorithms, but there's not enough information about Archangel Raphael, Michael, Uriel, or even Gabriel, because Gabriel is defined as a messenger and I am defined as a healer. And while the message can get lost in translation, that doesn't mean that the message isn't the word, in fact. So in a sense, the healing is where you're heading. The healing is the bridge to you connecting with your higher natures in such a way where you can evolve and grow into a higher level being, out of those natures into these greater natures, ultimately creating greater realities for yourself and others. So if you really want to know how I do that, and I've been showing you how I do it for free, and I'm going to give you a 5-minute Zoom call for free to introduce you to these higher natures and how I do these things. And from there, I'm offering you mentorship. This is as clear as authentic and honest as it can get. I'm offering you mentorship. I'm offering you help, the help that you need, if you need it. Because if you want it, right, you'll have to find a way where you need it bad enough. You'll have to ask yourself within yourself right now, do I need this bad enough? Do I need growth and evolution? Well, no matter where you're at in your life, no matter what you're conscious and aware of, I know you have a heart to help others. I know you have a heart to want to see a better world, to want to see a better reality, not just for yourself, but others as well. I know that, right? We are intuitively connected. We're all connected. We know this. So I'm here to help you do that, to a greater level, but you have to be willing to help me, because by helping me you will be helping yourself, because it is a give and exchange. Right now I'm doing this for free. Why? Because this is my purpose. This is what I've been sent here to do. But now I'm here to take it a step further and say, no, I'm going to offer you the help that you actually need. So this is for the people that need this. Because if you need it, you will find a way to be deserving, right? So you will offer the financial support that I need to support myself to continue doing my work to greater level. Because not only will I bring you the music that you want, the art that you want, the education, the science, and everything, even to a point, I can help assist in so many ways that you don't even perceive that I can. So in terms of inventing technologies and technological, it's a whole systematic approach. It's a form of oppression when you realize that your phone is radioactive, and the same phone that you're using right now, that I'm using to film this video, is actually harming the vessel because it's radioactive. You've heard a lot, about whatnot it is or it isn't, but I'm here to tell you it is, and you intuitively know this as well when you can feel into yourself and you're spiritual, and you do practice different forms of spirituality, so meditation and yoga and dance and flow and movement, being the main primordial aspects of creation. So and sound. So your throat chakra being an instrument, being the instrument you were given. So you will sing to express your way into your higher natures, because it connects us all. The sound is like almost the bridge into the healing. So it connects us all. But the healing is where you actually bring it into reality. The healing is where you manifest the heaven onto earth. So, in a sense, being human, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to continue to create a good reality for yourself and others, and also improve, then you're gonna have to be willing to make an investment, to make a change, and to ultimately help someone that can help you. It's really a win-win. It's nothing you lose. The only way you wouldn't be open to something like this is because you're basically you don't value or respect others' time, freedom, love, compassion, consciousness, and you're looking at things from a predatorial perspective, a lower animalistic lower vibrational nature, to where you don't value the help and assistance that is being sent your way through your own higher self being manifested, which is what you would call God, because that's the same God in all of us. That's the same God in all the animals. It's the same God in all the beating hearts. It's the same God running through the life force, but the life force ultimately is the sustenance giving to us, but the life force it's not God experiencing itself as God. It's God giving to us experiencing ourselves as God. So because we are the subjective sentient experience, witnessing ourselves, observing ourselves, where the plant is the God provided sustenance, completely different, completely unconscious of itself, because it's not itself. It's life force, different. So you can't kill air. In a sense, you can't kill air. There's no harming us. It's not, air isn't sentient. Life force, prana, energy, right? But then you say your spirit, yeah, But your spirit, your soul, having this subjective experience, it's the sentience behind it, right? So that is God. That is God experiencing itself as God. I just want to make that clear, and I don't want anyone to get uh, delusional and think that plants are God experiencing itself as God and they're sentient, and we're ultimately killing and eating them just like we are with animals. That's not the case, because plants are the life force, God given, we created in these bodies to have that sustenance. But at a certain point, when you really do this work appropriately, you'll begin to realize that not only is flesh and blood very limited, in order to actually come up out of it, you have to continuously keep growing, like I said, in such a way where no matter what you do, you can never stay stagnant, and the movement that you make is always in a positive direction. Because what people believe is that stagnation will lead to emptiness, because you need that trampoline to stand on so you can know how to move positively. Because when people see stagnation, they say, oh, I don't want to be stagnant, so they go the opposite directions. They literally fall on purpose, you know, into their lower animalistic natures. So in order to not do that and make that mistake, that's what I'm here to help you avoid. That's what I'm here to help you with. I can get into depth with that in a future video as well for free. But to help you who are in need of this evolution, because we are all in need of that. And if you're conscious enough this far, and you can see that I'm literally healing from a form of unfulfilled purpose to bring to you, I literally have not been sick in the last 9 to however months I've been vegan, but I've been poisoned a few. I self-poisoned myself a few times because of this ungrowing stagnation that led to me slowly but surely falling into these natures, because the energy speaks, for itself when it's not moving in the direction it needs to move. So it's a lot to unpack and uncover as well. Uncover. But if you go email me and schedule that 5-minute free Zoom call, we can uncover exactly what your needs are, so I can help you provide the mentorship solution to your problems. In return, I ask for financial compensation, being upwards to about $500 to $1,000 for about 2 to 3 weeks. So 2 to 3 weeks for $500 to $1,000, I will provide you with the assistance you need. Now, it may seem like you're not getting your bang for your buck, but you actually are, in fact, getting your bang for your buck. You're getting more than that, because just think about this video right here. I will be literally working with you for 2 to 3 weeks. One call every day. It's not going to be the same. It's going to change. Like, I have the time and the freedom to do it right now, but it's not always going to be that way. The prices are going to go up. The demand is going to go up. Everything's going to go up. So while it's this cheap, while it's this convenient, I would highly recommend that you make that investment and be ready to make that investment before you hop on the call, because the 5 minutes is gonna give you that personal one-on-one access to me, and that direct line of communication to your ancestry connecting with mine, and in a spiritual way, you will ultimately have an awakening in just those 5 minutes So, and that's for free. So when if you decide to move forward and decide you need it and you want to be deserving of more of exactly your growth and your healing and your acceleration, then that's what I will provide you with. In return, um, I ask for the financial compensation from upwards to $500 to $1,000 for 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so if so essentially, like, if if I deem it necessary, I will cut it off at 2 weeks. But if I deem that you do need that, because this is something that I'm working with anyways. This is something that I'm just now offering the introduction and everything. So I will allow to extend beyond another week to 3 weeks to actually give you the full on support and range, where I'm also gonna help myself in that way to have a deeper relationship with my clients. But that's only temporary, and those are my initial clients. Those are like my first peoples that I'm here to help, and serve. So yeah, while it still lasts and the offer's still there, I would highly recommend you take it and be ready to invest in yourself. um on this private mentorship one-on-one call for free, and you will get personal access to me. And from there, if you decide that you want to be deserving of your need for more growth and evolution, then you will find a way to make that investment and work with me for 2 to 3 weeks. $500 to $1,000. It's it's very simple, and I really hope that you're willing to make the change and investment necessary for yourself and for everyone you love, and for everything you love as well. In that sense, I will give my piece out now. That was about an hour long video. I'll go ahead and post this. I'll link my email down in the description of this video. You could also find it up in the tabs, as well as the donation links. If you just like the content, just want to donate, that's fine as well. There's something for everyone. So, but yeah, highly recommend taking on the mentorship, because not everyone is gonna be, not everyone right for the right job is gonna offer this. So, as Archangel Raphael, I'm here to help you heal. Not only that, it's a very limited form of consciousness in the summoning of the Masonic temples that brought us here, because their level of spirituality is connected to a fallen understanding of the universe, and ultimately the messenger Gabriel is something else entirely, and the healing of me Raphael is something else entirely, because the healing is so necessary, but it's like the labels are just wrong. It's not that, it's something else, and I'm here to break down what that is. But first, we'll get to that in a future video. But first, right now, I need to help. I need to help myself by helping you. So, and then things will kind of just come together. But we'll build it that way. We'll build authenticity and honesty and truth of what things actually are. You could summon it up to one word rather than healing. Enlightenment. The reason why I don't like that word either, and that's why I didn't want to say it, is because it's a generalized term and it's often used by different gurus and sages for negative predatory reasons, and I'm not associated with that at all, obviously. But, no harm in using the term for what it's actually meant for, right? I just don't want you to associate that with the false realities of those positive intended words. Because this is far from predatory, and this is far from animalistic natures being expressed in a unhealthy way, which I will help you deal with by showing you how I do it myself, um, and relaying that to your soul and your spirit. So that's it. This is our. I'm out of here. Uh, yeah. I look forward to seeing you on the other side, my friends and family. Peace.